we want to cater to people who want to learn to become trainers, but we also want to cater to our local trainers that are already there, but maybe they need a little help in certain areas, or maybe they want to learn something new. Like I said, there's enough dog business out there for everybody, and I think I'm not a guy that don't want to see more dog trainers. I like seeing the people interacting with the people and making their dogs better. Like I said, I think the more the merrier in some aspects. So, and we want good quality dog trainers. Like I said, I don't want to go back to like you said, the snake oil sellers and whatnot. I hope those days are behind us, and we can carry on and have good quality trainers out there to provide a good service for you folks.
Everybody. So welcome to my podcast. I'm Lianne Shinton from Automation Dogs, and we are a software CRM for dog trainers. I've been a dog trainer for a long time, and I love to focus my podcast on learning about other dog trainers, how they are helping other dog trainers, and also helping local pet dogs, police dogs, and all sorts of things that they're doing. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Tom Cronenwett. Did I say it right?
Correct.
Awesome. Welcome, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Lianne, for having me on today.
I'm excited to chat with you. Now, Tom is from Professional Canine, and that's Professional K, letter K, number 9. And you guys are in Ohio, and I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting everyone, I think, on your team because I visited Columbus, Ohio area, Hillard, and you guys held this fantastic conference for dog trainers. So today I want to talk about what you guys do locally in Ohio and maybe a little bit about the conference too. So welcome, Tom, and maybe share a little bit about your journey in dog training and Professional Canine.
So, wow. I guess as a kid, I always had dogs. In fact, my mom loves to tell the story about how I taught the dog that I got as a stray to roll down a hill that we had at the farm. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where I've always had a dog by my side, even as a child. And the majority of those dogs were working line dogs. They were German Shepherds and whatnot. So I always had a passion for the working line dogs. And then in 2000, well, I got to date myself a little bit later. And 1993, I became a police officer, and I wanted to be a canine handler. That was always like a passion. And I started in Mount Gilead in 1996. And then I wanted to start a canine program, and it wasn't the time. And then we're going to fast forward several years later to 2010. My chief came to me and said, "Hey, you still interested in wanting to do canine?" I said, "Absolutely." And I started with my first dog in 2010. And I unfortunately lost Tim Seeger. He was my Dutch Shepherd. I ended up losing him to cancer. And that was in 2015. In 2015 is kind of when I really started focusing on dog training specifically. Like I always kind of had a hand in it with the police work, but in 2015, I really started focusing on what the dog was thinking and how to better communicate with the dog. And right about that time, I started in dog training business with another individual. And we had a good time together. That's where I met Jess. And we had a great connection. On about 2000, roughly end of 2000, Jess and I, this might upset some people, but we kind of come to the conclusion that, at least in my opinion, there are sometimes dog trainers that are they're kind of like used car salesmen, right? They're always kind of promising things that they really can't deliver. And then the customer end of it was they were kind of shorthanded. There wasn't, and it wasn't just like anything personal like I was working with. It was just I seen over the industry, and it seemed like there was some people that they wouldn't return phone calls, or they would just completely they would try to be in the dog's life for the entire dog's life, if that makes sense. And it's like, I'm a type of person, and this is kind of what I based when I built Professional Canine. I really wanted to focus more on the customer and what he or she wanted. So that way, I always tell my client, my goal is not to be on your taxes at the end of the year as a dependent, right? So I really focus on coming in, working with the client, getting the things that they want to have done, their goals met, and leave on a good note. And that kind of catapults us to the next customer. I couldn't tell you how many referrals I get from previous customers, just because of the way we are in our business model. So that was kind of my goal, and that's kind of how the short version of how I got into dog training and kind of where I'm at today.
That's great. And I love that you touched on, kind of a purpose of making sure that people are getting quality instead of like a snake oil salesman over promising and under delivering. And thank you for your service. Are you still a police officer now, or did you retire from that?
No, I'm still an active officer. I run a police dog.
Okay.
His name's Nico. He's in a lot of the shots that I have. He's a Dutch Shepherd as well. And he has a fantastic personality. That dog I have, in fact, Sam, who you've worked with, Sam, he's my decoy. Sam and I have worked that dog to a level where I think to be honest with you, out of the 3 dogs I've had, he's my best dog, that I've been able to produce, if you will. And that's not me. That's a lot of other hands involved. But one of the things about Nico that I'll just touch base real quick is he has such a great on and off switch. We did a demonstration for our local county fair here in Morrow County, and we were doing a lot of bite work, and there was a lot of things going on. And it was almost immediately after I was able to take the dog into the stands and interact with the kids, and there was I know the dog, right? So I know he's able to do that. And he is just a fantastic dog. He has a good on and off switch, and it's perfect for a small rural community like we have here.
That's awesome. That is so great. Yeah, it's wonderful to have just those dogs that are amazing, amazing. I know they're all amazing, but sometimes they're just perfection. So
Yep.
yeah, that is my flirty as well. Like just amazing. Um, you mentioned Jess. So I did meet Jess, obviously, Jessica at the conference. We did a podcast together as well, talking about professional canine. And maybe you could share a little bit about like her and how she's part of your business and how you met her, because she
Okay.
is a standout. When I walked into the conference as a vendor and sponsor, like she's like just so confident to come
Yeah.
up and, where do you want me to set you up? And very helpful and very confident. So I would love to hear more about her.
Okay. So Jess and I met, like you said, we worked for a previous company. And we were really on the same page. She was 100% medical. She didn't do any training.
Mm.
In fact, she kind of wanted to venture into that, and she got kind of pushback from it. So when we decided to leave that company, I went to her and I'm like, "You want to be a dog trainer?" And she's like, at first she was a little uneasy, like she wasn't sure if she could do it. And I'm like, "You 100% can do this." And so I worked with her. We started mentoring through other people. We started watching. Unfortunately, at that time, you didn't have a lot of people here locally we could just go to and go, "Hey, can you show us how to be dog trainers?" Um, and I'll touch back on that point here in a little bit. But um, we we looked at the Learberg videos and other people's videos on YouTube and whatnot. We followed, trainers like Tom Davis and Michael Ellis and some of the famous trainers, and just kind of got an overall feel of how we wanted to do things. And then we just started working dogs. And then she made a connection with the Max Soviak Foundation up in Sandusky, Ohio, or I think in Berlin, Ohio is actually where they're located. Max Soviak was the corpsman that was unfortunately killed in the pullout of Afghanistan. So she met those people through basically a family friend was wanting a service dog, and they were going to pay for the service dog. So she tackled that project and produced the dog for them, and that kind of
Wow.
built our relationship with their foundation. And then that's kind of expounded into our business as far as we do quite a bit of service dogs for that foundation. We are very proud to help them, and very, very proud to help our servicemen and women who have needs that we feel is, a dog can actually give them a better quality of life. And Jess is very compassionate, as you probably have seen when talking to her about the business, about the dog. She will say 100%, we always advocate for the dog.
She does,
So we
yes.
always advocate what's best for the dog. And we also want that communication between the owner, the handler, and the dog to be spot on. And I think that's one reason why we're very successful. She is for sure a important person of the business. She's my COO of the business. She runs the day to day, and I couldn't do it without her. So
It's interesting to hear you say that when you guys talked about, hey, do you want to be a dog trainer? And to hear her being like, I'm not sure if I could do it. That doesn't seem like her at all now, because
yeah,
what I saw when I saw her at the conference, she's teaching the seminars at the conference. Outstanding. So yeah, she's changed a lot, I guess.
yeah. She was, like I said, her wheelhouse was not just medical, and we could see that. I mean, she has a lot of dogs herself, and she works with them constantly, and it was just a natural transition, really, honestly, from being in the medical field with veterinarian work into the dog training work. Now, there's that satire, like, we don't cross into the veterinarian field, and then typically veterinarians don't cross into the training field. But I think with her, we have a really good connection with both fields. For instance, there's a veterinarian clinic in Waldo, Ohio, that they recommend us all the time for behavioral modification dogs, and that was just done mere by uh, by the word of mouth. And Jess was part of that, right? So I think the ability to have her on board, and if I have questions on a dog's medical side of it, it's a quick text message or a phone call, and I can get the answers. So I really think that is a convenient that a lot of other dog trainers may or may not have.
Yes, yes, definitely. My best friend is a veterinary emergency and critical care technician,
Mhm.
and having a resource like that is super fantastic. So yeah, you're lucky that she has that background. Now, there was something that you wanted to circle back around on, and I wanted to dig into that. And you mentioned about maybe, I think it was like reaching out and looking for trainers to help you
Yeah.
in the area. And I think that the professional canine conference, the development conference for trainers that you guys held in Ohio, that was literally for helping trainers to learn
Mhm.
and to support each other. And there was a couple that spoke in, they kind of put their hand up and said, hey, I have a background in sales and business and so on, but I haven't been able to find a dog trainer to help me and my husband with the dog training side of things. Like, this is what we're doing, we'd like some
Mhm.
help. And it's like, this is literally what this conference is for. I'm so glad that you're there supporting and helping folks.
So the conference, and I'll just prelude this a little bit, was Sam's idea. Like, this was his brainchild, and at first I was like, I was looking at it because it was an enormous task. Like, we were sitting there talking about it, and there's always that confidence issue. Like, are we there yet? Are we ready to put something on like this? Can we pull it off? Is it going to make sense for people? And there was also that feeling of that, for some stigma with dog trainers, and it's not all of them. So when people read this, I don't want them to think that all the dog trainers are like that. I don't say that, but there are some that feel like, well, I'm not going to let my secrets out. Like, this is mine. I don't want to share it. And there is, and in our view, as far as a professional canine, we feel that there's enough dog business out there for everybody. Like, there isn't a market where we have to dominate. I feel it's something that we can share the wealth with everybody, and the knowledge isn't theirs, right? They like our keynote speaker Justin Rigney said, he stole that from somebody else, right? Yeah. So we quote unquote steal those informations from other trainers, and and they try to label it their own. But I really wanted to see something where people felt comfortable coming to us, and over the years we have had people come to us and say, "Hey, how do I become a dog trainer? What do I need to do?" And we've mentor some people to do that. But I know what Sam's vision was. He wanted to put something together where people could come and learn about dog training. And I agreed with that. I thought that was an excellent idea. And we wanted to expand it out into other areas, not just in dog training, but we had Dave Durson from Kinetic Dog Food show up, Kay Smith from the Reiki Center, along with, we had a lot of other trainers there that were like-minded, like Travis Lloyd, Mitch Christian, Brian Dell, Nick Driscoll, Tiffany Watskill. So we were able to bring a lot of things that were like-minded people, but we wanted to expand it on other things so that way people would, if they were interested in search and rescue, we had Heather Ferguson from Ohio Task Force 1 there to talk about search and rescue. Nick Hammer, he's with BBI Canine. He did bug bed detection. So we wanted to have an overall different parts of the culture that people could come in and kind of get exposure to, as well as learning theories and how things worked, and what better ways to communicate with your dog, and how to use an e-collar, and how to use a clicker. And those who wanted to get in the AKC stuff, we had Lex Wheeler there for Roger That Canine. She went over AKC certifications, and yourself, to have you there to talk about the business end of it, and how Automated Dog can help expand your business in a different format that maybe a lot of other traders haven't even thought about.
Awesome. Yeah, it was such a wonderful time. It was very personal. Everybody got to meet everybody. Yes. The fact that you can say everybody's name, last name, where they're from, like, very personal, not like a big conference where things get lost. Vendors like myself, don't get to talk to everybody. So that I really loved. I know it was the first conference. I know it will grow. So I hope there's a way to keep that, just this personal connection with everybody.
I think one of the nice things that we did, and I have to credit Sam for it, is he wanted to bring people in that we knew wasn't going to necessarily project a negative to the conference. I don't think we heard one negative about any of the speakers, any of the vendors. We didn't receive one negative comment. We received some construction criticism that we can use for next year, and that we'll build on that. And we appreciate that. Like, we knew it wasn't going to be perfect, and I don't know if you remember it. I even told the people, like, tell us where we sucked. Don't tell us all the good stuff. Tell us where we need to make things better, because Yeah, I mean, Ohio doesn't really have anything like this right now. So, at least from what I've seen over the last several years, we're the first to kind of bring this to Ohio. And we were fortunate because, like, we had people that came from Nevada,
Yep.
Georgia, the Carolinas. Um, I think there was a Tennessee person. I think there was states total. West Virginia. Like I was shocked. I just like we're just a little dog training company in Ohio, and you came to see our conference. I was just amazed by it.
Yeah, outstanding. I'm so excited about it and next year and on from there. It was to me it was perfect. I thought it was fantastic. I came from Kansas, so there's another
Yeah,
state.
Kansas. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, awesome.
uh, and then maybe let's talk a little bit about the pet dog side of your training.
Okay.
That's always been my passion. Is that a big part of professional canine?
It's our bread and butter, for sure, because we do a lot of service dogs. We do therapy dogs as well, and then we have a working line dog section as well. But our daily bread and butter is the local dog owner that just recently got a German Shepherd puppy and don't know what to do,
Mhm.
or they get a lot of. I get a lot of shoulder dogs, and I really, in fact, we actually a lot of times will post specials. Where like if you get a dog from like our Morrow County dog shelter, we'll put together a reasonable package to like 3 lessons or so that we can help the dog integrate into the family. So again, we advocate for the dog, so we always try to push that. We want the dog and the owner to have a great connection, and we want people when they get their dog. Sometimes they don't know what they got. Right. Sometimes they get a breed that they think is, well, I seen it in a movie like Malinois, or even like recently the Cane Corso is kind of the biggest breed, that kind of fad that's going on right now. And we want to educate people about the dog that they've selected and what we need to do to make that dog interact with you and be live out a perfect life for you. So on the dog side of it, we do AKC, CGC, or Canine Good Citizen programs. That we have a lot of people that really gravitate toward those programs. They're very successful for us. All of my staff is evaluators. I make sure that they go through that so that way we can evaluate each other's dogs without having to go through a lot of rigmarole to get that done. Um, and I also like to integrate a lot of the dog theory with my dog owners, because then they help understand the why. Um, and it was funny. I had a conversation with one of my old canine trainers in the police world, and he never really in back. And I always call it 1985 training because that's kind of where where I even when I started, it was dated training, and it was the rope and choke is like what a lot of people call it. But I mean, it was very rigid as far as how they wanted the dog to perform. And when I started learning the dog theories of why a dog acts this way, or why the dog reacts to certain to stimulus, um, that some of that stuff clicked, like why the old school stuff was working at the time, but obviously they didn't want to learn about the new up and coming theories in dog training, marking training, utilizing an e-collar. I will say I feel in the law enforcement world, we've really missed the mark on e-collar. We've used it seemed like a lot for the hammer as opposed to the gas pedal, like Justin talks about. So I like to educate my clients on why this works and why it works better, so they have a better overall understanding of of their dog. And usually when I explain it to them, they sit back and go, well, that makes sense. I know why my dog does that now. So it really helps the connection with us and them too.
And the why, maybe we could take a deeper dive into that.
Okay.
I'm thinking the why also applies to, like you're saying, hey, I've got a German Shepherd. Why is he being reactive?
Mm-hmm.
He's very external and he's a very vocal little guy. And um, maybe talking about the why as far as understanding and respecting in a resource guarding situation, like that is kind of natural for our
Yeah.
dogs. It's not that they're a bad dog. So I think that why that you mentioned is really powerful to help owners respect and understand what they've got,
Sure.
and then learn how to help manage these kind of things.
Sure. Like we talked about the shelter dogs, and I always call them my prison dogs, right? Because they're in that environment, and they come
Yeah,
out and they're kind of shell shocked.
they are.
Um, and, and like it was, and unfortunately, I had an unfortunate story. I had a dog from the Marion County Dog Shelter. And they had this dog, and I did a board and train with the dog just to work it. She was a pit bull mix. She was a great dog. She was just ever loving. Like she just was that type of dog. But she really was a one person dog. Like she just didn't like necessarily a lot of pressure from other people. Um, she seemed okay with other dogs. She didn't have a really dog reactivity, but she definitely was a one person dog. And they just struggled to rehome that dog, and they ended up unfortunately euthanizing the dog. And I really felt horrible about that because the dog was just not understood. And I really think that that's a key factor, that the dog was in that environment and was it could I always say, the shelter environment is not the place where you go sometimes and evaluate that dog for the very first time. A lot of shelters, like our local ones, you take the dog home for 3 days and kind of get to know it a little bit, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But um, you know I don't know. I don't blame them. Obviously, I know they were desperately trying to home the dog, and they just ran out of options. But that resource guarding, sometimes it's just simply genetics of the dog. How it, if especially if its litter mates were kind of
Mm.
bullied that particular dog, during feeding. Um, the dog did not get a chance to really learn how to react properly. And, sometimes when we bring the dog and the owner together and we talk about things and we say, well, let's set this up for the dog's success. Like, let's try, feeding the dog out of your hand, let the dog take the food from your hand and go from there. And that's just one particular problem. I mean, you know yourself. You've seen a lot of these dogs when they come out and there's some reactivity. It could be anything from a dog reactivity to leash reactivity, and we just try to take the problem and kind of dissect it to see exactly where we can change things, maybe less leash pressure, maybe a little more lead pressure. But we just really dissect the problem as we see it that's in front of us.
And then the owner, because you mentioned earlier that you know some trainers overpromise, underdeliver, a little bit of that snake oil salesman kind of
Mhm.
feel. But it sounds like in your programs you're really focused on educating the owner, you're teaching them the whys,
Mhm.
and the owner is going to be a big part of that process, because we've talked a lot about the dogs, but
Yeah,
teaching the owner. So maybe share a little bit about how important that is to you guys, as far
sure.
as coaching and motivating the owner to practice, and how you guys help the owner side of the leash.
So that's always the challenge, right? Because owners, I can train the dog. I try to train the owner the best I can, but it's the follow through that we have at home. And sometimes, life get in the way. I'll have a client, and it may be a week or two before I've actually seen them. I'll say, "Hey, how are we doing?" It's like, "Well, such and such," and a lot of times it's just life gets in the way. So I try to get them to dedicate. Specific times in the day to do certain things with the dog, and to work that dog around their schedule. Our friends up in Cleveland we met in Elite Canine, they have a fantastic idea that, and I think Sam had spoke to you a little bit about it, where they have the dog, like we give the owners homework to do certain, in between our sessions. I said, but they do follow up where they have them shoot videos and send them and talk about what they're seeing good and what they're seeing problem areas, and it gives them a little more weekly update, or more kind of in time with the training sessions that they're having at home. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I know we're going to start incorporating that as well, because I think that's important. Even if it's just a simple, "Hey, you look great, keep up the good work," or maybe we have to critique some leash pressure, or maybe a little bit of spatial pressure with the dog, whatever it may be. At least we're able to see it, right? And instead of waiting till they come to the sessions and they say, "Yeah, I've had all these
Yeah.
problems and I can't get them solved," and we try to solve it in that hour session or so.
Mm.
Um, this way we can kind of see everything as it's happening sometimes and say, "Hey, a little bit of this or a little bit of that can go a long way." And I think I know we're definitely in talks of incorporating that in the future. And like I said, we're new too, right? We're not all knowing. We want to pick up new things, and when we see new things working for other trainers, for sure we want to do it.
Yeah, I think it's good for pet owners, dog owners to see that dog trainer experts like yourself, like that you're not just there to just fix the dog's problem. You're there as their coach. Just like I would hire somebody at the gym to help
Mhm.
teach me to lift weights, they would maybe check in and be like, "How are you eating this week?"
Right.
Things like that, that you guys aren't just there to like fix the dog and then you're done. It's a lifestyle, and you're there for the client to, you know, coach them and educate them.
We always tell our clients, even when we're done with them, we always say, "Hey, we're always here for you. If there's something pops up, give us a phone call, give us a text message." I always offer Jess up as a veterinarian resource, as far as, if they have a question, or maybe their veterinarian said something, they're just not sure, and they just kind of want a second opinion or an idea from somebody else. And full disclosure, Jess isn't a veterinarian; she's a vet tech, but she can't give medical, but she can give a lot of advice that my clients deeply appreciate. Um, so, but back on what we were talking about, yeah, I think when you're able to check in with them, and not only do they feel like their money that they are investing in you isn't just something they get that hour, they get that fulfillment of like, "Hey, these people care about me, they care about my dog, they want to see us succeed." And they feel like they're getting more out of it, as opposed to, "Hey, I've tried to talk to this guy, and he doesn't call me back, or he doesn't," and I think that sets a bad precedence for people. And I think nowadays, especially with the technology that's available, there's really no excuse why you can't do it. Even if it's a simple, "Hey, they shoot me a little video and they send it to me in a text
Mm.
message," I can answer that, right? It doesn't take me long to do that, to review that video and go, "Hey, I like that," or, "Hey, we need to tweak this." Um, and I really think the people appreciate that, above and beyond just that little bit of interaction they get from you, or even the knowledge. I can sit there and and talk to them. I always tell them, like, I will regurgitate this stuff out to you in such a fashion that you're going to like, oh, you're overwhelmed. And I try not to do that, but I give them all the information and they dissect it. And then I give it to them again in a later date. And they start, clicking with what I tell them. And a lot of times what happens with owners is when they don't get that, and I have experienced personally, where, I may have not got that connection with them and they feel like, I've kind of lost it. And then I got to pick them back up and go, okay, this is where we need to pick back up. This is where we can succeed and the dog can do better.
Excellent. Now, just to talk about puppies, because you mentioned earlier you deal a lot with shelter dogs. You also train puppies, obviously, and we are coming up to a big puppy time. We are right now, if you're watching this currently, we're at the beginning of December. I can't believe it. But Christmas puppies will be coming up. So maybe you can give some pointers, some tips, so that folks kind of have a bit of a plan as they move into any Christmas puppies, so that it doesn't end up being a whole bunch of Christmas puppies that end up at the shelter. They kind of, you'd mentioned earlier, folks get into a dog and they don't really know what they've got. Right. And that might be what we're going to be seeing soon.
I would really strongly encourage people to really do research on the dog that they're looking at. Even if, they're wanting like a big popular dog here is a Border Collie or Australian Shepherd, because we have a lot of cattle communities. And so when we're dealing with those particular dogs, they're working line dogs, right? So they have genetics that's installed in them that just, it's not fair to try to erase that, right? So I just strongly encourage everybody to really research their dog that they're looking at, and know the pros and cons to it. And really, truly, if anybody wants to reach out to any of my staff or myself to talk about that, we will definitely help them in a dog selection for them. Again, we don't pick their dog for them per se, but I mean, if they have questions about a particular breed, and we can sit there and just have a quick little interview and talk about what their lifestyle is like, and if that dog is really kind of going to cohabitate with that, what they have going on. A lot of times people get puppies and they're like, I really want a puppy. And then they realize they don't have the time for that puppy. And then it unfortunately ends up in a shelter or rehomed. And so, let's try to avoid that. Let's think about what's best for the dog and what's best for you. And we can come around and help and talk about what's good. And as far as pointers go, we can help at early stages, like 7 weeks. So as soon as you get your puppy, if you want to reach out to us to help with, just routine potty training, crate training, just a simple obedience that you can start working at those young ages, we are here and always willing to help people do that. I foresee us doing probably a puppy special toward Christmas for our clients as well. So we'll be running something, I'm sure, pretty soon. I'll get with Jess and thumb that over and get that out here shortly.
Yeah. And I like what you said about like kind of researching. I'm a planner, so I think that when you plan something, as you're planning that vacation or as you're planning out that event, your dopamine levels are going up. Like the planning process can be very fun and exciting too. And having everybody in the family be on the same page, having the support of an expert trainer, having some of the things already purchased, like a crate, for example, knowing what kind of crate, and having an expert like Tom to touch base with on that, so that part of the journey can be really fun instead of just winging it. Right. And feeling frustrated and having a puppy that is, just maybe not doing as well in the home initially as they could if you had kind of laid the groundwork before they got there.
Yep, 100%. We always tell clients also that, when you're looking at the puppy end of it, think about the end of that dog's life too. Like look at that, all the stages of that dog's life and what that looks like for you. So that way, you can plan. You get a Belgian Malinois, all right? People love the Malinois, and they're a high strung dog. And you have to prepare your household for it. You have to prepare everybody in your household for it. And you have to educate yourself on what's best for that dog and what's best for you and the activity life that you need to maintain it. Sometimes you get that unicorn. I had an older Malinois that she's a couch potato. She was just a perfect pet dog, but she was a unicorn. You know that as well. So yeah, I really researched to understand all the stages of the dog's life, so that way you understand, what's expected, not just now, but in the future.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Um, Puppies are hard. Like we know that, but they're not actually that fun. You don't sleep. You clean up a lot. You have to really get in with your trainer and make sure that you know what you're doing and getting that support. Puppies are cute and adorable, but they're actually a lot of work.
Oh,
And the later stage too. I'm particularly thinking of one Christmas puppy that I got to train, and I know he was a Christmas puppy because he had a Christmas name. His name is Griswold.
yeah,
Like,
perfect.
yeah,
She's
but
beautiful.
yeah, awesome. Just chocolate lab, great guy, but very, very like over the top with his energy. Super fun dog. People like Tom and I are like, yeah, that's my kind of dog. But he wasn't for everybody. And I could
No.
tell he was driving his family crazy. And it just wasn't the greatest fit for their lifestyle, the working all the time, little kids, things like that. And it's kind of sad seeing Grizz, and being like, can I have him? But they were committed and stuck with it, but it just didn't feel like everybody was super happy about it. And like you said,
Mhm.
advocating for the dog, I don't think Grizz was too happy about that, for him too. So things to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Like, like you mentioned, like that puppy stage is a very hectic time period. Um, People, the potty training is really, I think, a number one. Um, I don't want to say a problem, because you and I can work a dog and get the dog in that potty training mode and relatively quick. But the everyday dog owner, they may not do it the way we would initially do it, so they're kind of more kind of trial and error, and it's frustrating, and they're trying to get this dog to understand to go outside. And
Hmm.
so
In the winter,
and
in the winter
in
too.
the winter, correct. Yeah, we
Hmm.
got snow here in Ohio, and single digit degrees temperatures. So, yeah, trying to going out with the dog and making sure it does its thing, and a reward based system. Like we want to put a reward based system in, and understand that it's a good thing to go outside to do those things. And it is frustrating for people, but I don't want to discourage people from getting a puppy, because like it can be a wonderful time as well. Like if you're really into it, and you can really see this puppy grow, and it becomes your dog, right? When you get that puppy and you raise it from puppy all the way from to you have to say goodbye to him. I mean, that is the lifetime of that dog. And I mean, you see these quotes all the time that that dog's life is your entire life, right? And that's the one thing that I really try to tell these people, like when you get this dog and he becomes part of your family, how could you say I can't keep him anymore? I gotta let him go. And I understand people's lives and whatnot, but for me, it would be like telling my kid, you know what, I don't have time for you anymore, and I can't afford you, so beat it.
Yeah.
We're going to rehome my child. No, we don't do that. And it's just one of those things where I think it is kind of like raising a child, right? When you see the beginning stages of having an infant, and all the trials and tribulations of having an infant and growing all the way up to toddler stage and extra, you do that in months with a dog, right? So,
Yeah.
um, but it is a hectic time, but it is also a rewarding time if you really do the things. If you're with a trainer and you do the things that your trainer is telling you to do, it can be a very good time if you get it done right.
Yeah, and I right now, if you can see her, my
I
perfect
see that.
angel in the background, she's 9 years old. She's going to be 10 on
Oh,
December 10th, and I don't know what today is, but I'm thinking it's like the 5th. So,
day
uh,
6. Yep. So
okay, I
4
got to get
days.
on Amazon and get some presents. She has a lot of Christmas experience and birthday experience, so she knows how to unwrap a present, and it's super
Awesome.
cute. But yeah, 9 years old, still enjoying, of course, every minute. It is a special time. I have a 16-year-old as well, going on 17 in the spring.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a tougher time when we go outside in the snow and he's, if he slips or something, that could be it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's enjoyable in the older stages too. I'm quite enjoying it.
I have my second police dog. He's retired. Nick. He's a German Shepherd. He's from Germany. He is 12, so he's my old man, but he still goes out and he gets around really well, and I still love him. So just because they get older doesn't mean you don't love them, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Soldier's a bit stinkier, but he's still well loved. So yeah, this has been a great conversation, and hopefully, folks, as we move into Christmas, think about these things and reach out to you if they have questions.
Absolutely.
What if even if they see this video and they aren't in the Ohio area, that they find a trainer. They've
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get calls sometimes from out of state people who thinking they were close to them, and we will give advice. I mean, we don't turn anybody away, and we'll talk to them and whatnot. But we do recommend that they get a trainer that they can work with locally, and sometimes we can kind of get a feel who's in their area, and maybe help them reach out to certain ones to find that perfect fit for them. Because again, just because you may live in Kansas, right? We can, if we can help you, we'll help you. So just a side note, for those who are thinking about getting a dog, our shelters are full of dogs, and I really do. I do try to advocate for them as well if they can check a shelter before they go buy a dog to make sure that there might not be that particular dog in there that they can home and love and give that dog a good life. So
Yeah, well
it's
said.
important.
Yeah. Now, we talked a little bit about if folks are from out of town, they can still reach out to you. Maybe
Yeah.
share what your location is, where you guys are, so if folks are local to you, they can get your support and hire you.
Sure. Well, we're Central Ohio. I'm located in Mount Gilead. That's kind of where the address of the business is. But Jess and Adam are in Newark area. Sam is in Grove City, and actually we have Nick also, who is in the Dayton area. And then I have Brandon, who's also up here in Morrow County with me. So um, you're spread out. So we do that kind of to help kind of get a good client base and help as many dogs as we can. So we're working on trying to maybe potentially expand up north too at some point in the northern part of the state a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how things go.
Awesome. Yeah, that's you covering a lot of area. And how can folks find you? Maybe share your website URL and like just how to reach out to you, what that looks like for folks.
Sure. Obviously we're on Facebook. Look us up, Professional Canine. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We have a website, professionalcanine.com. You can go there and check us out. All of our social medias are listed on our website as well. Reach out, talk to us. We're really easygoing people. That's one of the things about us that I think as you seen when you came into the conference, we try to make you part of our family. We welcome you and make sure that your needs are met. And I do contribute that to all my trainers, that they are a different breed of people sometimes, and they kind of go above and beyond, in my opinion, to make sure that the client is comfortable and that we get the services to them that they need.
Fantastic. And you've mentioned Sam a few times
Yes.
on this podcast. So I would like for you to share a little bit about Sam. He's a great leader. He, you said, was kind of the brainchild or the conference. So maybe share a little bit about Sam. He's your decoy too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and another interesting fact. So, Sam is Jess's dad, and Adam is Jess's husband. So, I've hired the whole family. So,
Yes.
um, Sam, 30 plus year vet military, the leadership that he's learned from the military and all the things that he's experienced over the years, he brought that to this company, and I could not thank him enough. And when we first started, me and Jess started Professional Canine, I had asked about Sam and if he was interested, because I wasn't really sure where he was at in dog training either. I knew he dabbled in it and he knew a lot of things, but I didn't know to what level. And he is top notch. I think Sam is. I would probably put him up against any trainer in the nation. I think he has a real good feed on the dog. I think he has a real good feed on what's going on in the world, and how the dog can the better trained a dog can be. He is very articulate in the way he speaks, and he's very what to the point, I guess, the best way to say it. When he's dealing with the client, and then also when he was speaking at the conference. I mean, he lays it out. He lets know how things are going, and we just we ran that thing like a military operation. In my opinion, he was on it every day of where things were going to go, and he did a fantastic job.
And when you say it ran like a military operation, I'm not from a military background, but my experience was that it ran like a family. Like
Yeah.
it was very personal and enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share my perspective because, yeah, that I don't really know what run like a military, like family or military style is, but my take on it was that it was so enjoyable. And I think Sam seems so kind and helpful, but I know that he is an amazing leader. He must have been like a chief or something in the
He was. He
military.
was in the Air Force.
Okay.
I don't want to go into his.
Okay. I don't know.
I
I'm
know
just,
I don't know all of his titles and what all he did, but he spoke about it. I guess, and let me touch back on the military operation. I mean, he had it planned, like it was planned.
yeah.
He had it well organized, I guess, is more what I would say. The family orientated of the conference, I felt that came from us. I think Jess
Yeah.
and everybody just wanted to get everybody to be welcomed, to be at ease, and the more at ease you are, the easier it is for you to learn. So I think for the conference, I thought it was, especially for our first one, I thought it went really smooth. I can't wait for the second one. I hope
Yeah.
it's bigger and better next year.
Yeah. And if folks want to learn more about Jess, I did already interview her. So her podcast should be coming out
Perfect.
shortly. And one of the very interesting takeaways to me was you'd mentioned it earlier was how you guys help veterans. And I know that she comes from a military family. Her dad was deployed,
Yep.
things like that is very, very hard for a family. So her leaning into supporting military families with service dogs, therapy dogs, things like that sounds like very unique and just wonderful.
Yep. So her and I also run a 501c3 called the Central Ohio Canine Foundation, and it's for 9 counties here in Central Ohio. And what we do is and Sam's a part of it, Adam's a part of it. Lex from Roger That Canine is a part of the foundation. What we do is we help fundraise for dogs for veterans and first responders. So she's actually the CEO of the 501c3 as well, and so she's pretty busy. Like the whole family and organizations is really busy when it comes to whether we're doing professional canine or whether we're doing Central Iowa Canine Foundation. So if people are interested, if there's a veteran or a first responder here locally that's interested in getting a service dog, reach out, search the Central Ohio Canine Foundation either on Google or on Facebook. We have an application process, and we can help you. We'll help you get a dog. So I just wanted to put that out there since we were talking about veterans, but it's kind of become our passion. The It's been an overwhelming joy to see a veteran. We had one in particular. I tell this story a lot. He's from Texas, right? And we trained his dog through the Soviet Foundation. We had that dog for probably 6 or 7 months, or maybe a little longer. When he came into town, he met this dog. We did when we do a handoff, we do it kind of special. Like we took him and his family to the zoo. We took him to dinner. We worked the weekend with them before we sent him back to Texas. And they call us their Ohio family. We're their Ohio family. We talk to them on a regular basis. But this particular veteran, he sent us about a week or two after he went back to Texas. It was a shopping cart, and the dog was just off to the side. And that's all we got at first, and we were kind of confused. And then he kind of sent the message. He goes, "This is the first time I've been by myself in a grocery store in 10 years. You can't, we just sank when we seen that. You cannot believe how these dogs can bring these people into more of a normal life, help them live a day-to-day life like everybody else." And I really, for me, I'm working with a couple of veterans now, and to see that change in them is just unbelievable. And one of the things I will touch base on is with our service dogs program. We tried to prepare the dog for the entire, whatever that person wants to do for his entire life. So one of the things we tell the veteran or the first responder is like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And some people will say they want to travel. They want to go in a aircraft and travel the world. So what we do, we make it part of our program that we take the dog to, we have Sparks Flies here in Morrow County. It's a single engine airplane. We take the dog up, we simulate some turbulence and whatnot. We have the dog stay in the down position in the plane. And then we have the landing. So that way the dog have experienced not only laying in a confined area, but the feeling of takeoff and landing and sensations sometimes you get in an aircraft. Now, it's not an airliner, I realize that, but it's a better way to prepare the dog for that next step in this journey, right? So
Yeah.
try to give it a good sight picture. So that's one thing that we do a little different that maybe we set above everybody else, is we try to do certain things that's going to interact with the dog's entire life with that veteran. So that, and I know you've talked to Jess about when she did her presentation of cortisol. We do cortisol imprint for PTSD's dogs, so that way when their cortisol levels is raising in their body, the dog can start interacting with the veteran to help bring those anxieties down. So.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard the story already from Jess about the veteran and having anxiety just going to the grocery store. And yeah, dogs are such amazing creatures, and just hugging and loving on our dogs can be more healing than medication in some cases. They just
We
do
don't
so
deserve
much
it.
for us. I also really think that what you're doing with taking the dog and kind of practicing the airline stuff is really advantageous, because sometimes the dogs hate flying. I
Absolutely.
have one behind me right now. She is not a fan of flying.
No.
So sometimes, hey, I want my dog to be a service dog. I want them to go on airplanes. They may be terrified and it's awful. So you guys would be able to kind of sniff that out and say, this is not going to work for you, for this dog anyway.
It's not a perfect test, but it's a good oversight of kind of what the feeling is going to be with the dog, and kind of to give
Yeah.
it a sight picture. So we have one of our service dogs that we did through our foundation. It's went to Mexico. Like, he's traveled all over the place, and it's kind of cool to see the progression with these dogs and their veteran throughout their lives. We try to maintain a good connection with them as they go, and we leave it completely up to them. But they usually call us for some maintenance training, or just sometimes they just send us a picture to tell us where they're at in their lives. So we really appreciate it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been such a great conversation, Tom. Is there anything else that you would like to share today?
I think what I really want people to understand about the conference for next year is we want to bring more things into it. So if anybody's out there and they're thinking that maybe they want to bring something to the table, please reach out to either Sam or I or Jess, and just we're more than willing to talk to you and probably put you into the lineup. We really want to bring some more newer things for the conference next year. So not only we want to cater to people who want to learn to become trainers, but we also want to cater to our local trainers that are already there, but maybe they need a little help in certain areas, or maybe they want to learn something new. Um, like I said, there's enough dog business out there for everybody, and I think I want to see. I'm not a guy that don't want to see more dog trainers. I like seeing the people interacting with the people and making their dogs better. And like I said, I think the more the merrier in some aspects. So. And we want good quality dog trainers. Like I said, I don't want to go back to like you said, the snake oil sellers and whatnot. I think I hope those days are behind us, and we can carry on and have good quality trainers out there to provide a good service for you folks.
Yeah. And I guess if any pet owners, like just an average dog owner, is listening and they're like, oh, I wish dog trainers learned more about this. This is what we need. Let
Sure.
us know, because sometimes we're in the thick of it and we have a different perspective, and we can't take that step out of and have that third party perspective. So hearing from everybody as to what you think dog trainers should be focused on and could do better at, so that Tom and his team can, help provide that for other trainers.
100%. Sometimes, like you said, when you're in the thick of it, in the fog of war, you're out there and you're doing it on a daily basis. Sometimes you might be missing a step somewhere along the lines, and if they can say, "Hey, this is where I didn't get out of a particular dog trainer, or this is what I would like to see more of," absolutely reach out to us or yourself, and let's get the word out, and let's try to change the world a little bit.
Cool, cool. Let's try to change the world. I like that. That's a good ending note. Well, thank you so much, Tom. And again, if anybody wants to reach Tom or his team, could you share that URL again?
Yes, it's professionalcanine.net or org. We are located in Central Ohio. We're on Facebook and all the other social medias. We have TikTok, so Jess is on there doing TikToks. So again, please reach out. We're more than willing to help you. And if you reach out to us and we can't help you, we can call a friend and find the answer. We don't always know the answers, but we've made a really good network with trainers at the conference that
Mm-hmm.
we feel comfortable bouncing ideas off of them. So we have done it in the past where we've called friends and say, hey, this is what we got, and what do you think? And again, we just trying to better the dog and better the environment for the dog. So but yeah, thank you, Lianne, for having me on the podcast, and I hope everybody has a fantastic holiday and a Merry Christmas, and get out there and work with your dog. Spend some time.
Awesome. Great stuff. Well, thank you, Tom, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, I'm Lianne Shinton from Automation Dogs. I'm also a dog trainer, and thanks for listening to my podcast.
Okay. Bye.